Hello, everyone. My name is Felix. I'm from Vienna originally, and I was also on your course that you're in now, Global Media and Transnational Communications. I was there last year, and I think you will be, or you will have listened to Sophie and Nini at this point, who were my dear friends and are my dear friends. And I will try to kind of contribute to the discussion video-wise because Marianne asked me to be there. Unfortunately, if you really see this video, it means that I have not made it because I couldn't leave my job earlier for several reasons. But I will try in this video to kind of address the issues that you have talked about in this session. And Marianne has given me kind of an outline of things that could help you if I talk about them. And what I want to do is kind of quickly tell you some things about my own dissertation. My topic was called A Privacy Paradox, Passive Attitudes Towards Protection of Personal Information Online, many P's. So it was all about passivity towards online privacy with the global public, let's say. My research question changed all the time. It literally changed all the time, and it was also one of the most helpful things that it changed because it kind of narrowed down my topic all the time. The fact that I thought about my research question a lot meant that I was on a good path because I had to realize that my research question was so important because my topic was so super broad. And if my research question didn't match what I was researching, then I was scared I was going to fail, basically. But my research question turned out fine. So within this topic, passive attitudes towards protection of personal information online, which was my subtitle, I chose the research question, why do people not take more action towards online privacy despite the given context? So I thought that this was kind of a good way of saying exactly what I wanted to say or ask what I wanted to ask. It was not super narrowed down, so it allowed me to research in what I wanted to research. Basically, the privacy paradox, I have kind of researched into the privacy paradox, which is a term that appears in literature. It's all about online privacy, the fact that awareness seems to be rather high when it comes to online privacy in many parts of the world. However, action is not being taken by anyone. We still use all the services. We don't protect our privacy, even though we know, blah, blah, blah. So this was my topic. Basically, what I did as kind of how I structured my dissertation was, first I had an introduction saying why I was interested in the topic, and I was very interested in the topic. I had always been interested in the topic, so that was rather straightforward. Then I gave some background in order, kind of in terms of privacy online, because that was my topic, so I had to say like, well, so I kind of gave some context about privacy and the law, just really quickly, and privacy in the EU and the US. So are there any differences and blah, blah, blah. This was just very brief in order to give people understanding of online privacy, which was my topic. Then I gave a conceptual framework. I also called it like this. This was my kind of literature part. I called it conceptual framework, in which I kind of talked about the privacy paradox, what had been researched about it, what had authors. There was not many authors kind of researching this, the privacy paradox, so it was also quite straightforward. I just looked into a list of books where I found this term and then kind of summarized it. I had to narrow down a lot of literature as I went along because just there was no room for all the literature I read. And then I did my own personal fieldwork. It changed quite a lot as well. First, I did the mistake of being much too obsessed about studies, like statistics. Marianne was my supervisor, thank God. And she and me, we both came to the conclusion that statistics don't say anything when it comes to these kind of topics. Well, I used some, but I would not use them to prove your point. And what I did instead was conduct my own private personal research fieldwork by choosing some people, just a random focus group. I did 2 focus groups. And first I did my first focus group and kind of discussed the topic. I let them kind of sign the form saying that they're okay with me using their information in my formal dissertation, anonymously or not anonymously. And then I just talked with these 6 people for about, they were from, well, the age group didn't really matter. I just chose 6 random people to talk about the topic. And it really helped because there was many interesting views coming across. However, after this first focus group, I felt like I had to go more into depth because it was the discussion had stayed too broad. So I conducted another focus group and discussed the outcomes of the first focus group. And this was the really, really interesting part because the first focus group told me what I already knew. And the second focus group brought me to my conclusion because I discussed the outcomes of the first focus group. This was all decided as we went along by Marianne and me. And it was hugely interesting because I did reach a conclusion that I really loved. So my research was qualitative. There was a lot of, I did these 2 focus groups and I also did interviews. These interviews were good as well, but I would categorize the interviews as part of the first focus group. So the interviews told me what I already knew. And then I did a methodologies chapter about why exactly I chose to do 2 focus groups and what signified them and why they were so helpful and why they were not helpful. And then I discussed the focus groups and the interviews in my personal research part. And last but not least, I gave a conclusion, which I thought why people are still not active enough towards privacy issues online. Yes, that's a quick overview. I hope there's no questions because I can't answer them. I'm just checking if I kind of went through the things that I am meaning to tell you. Yeah, first I wanted to do a survey, and that was not a good decision. We quickly came to the conclusion that it would not be good to do a survey for this kind of research because it's very qualitative and it's just not a quantitative topic because it's more, we always felt it was more helpful to have inside information coming from people out of their own mouths, talking to them and getting to the depth like this. When I want to do a survey with 150 people, checking like, do you check your online privacy daily? Why do you check it? Are you scared of online privacy? So that's what I wanted to do because I thought it was going to bring me to a conclusion. But I think if I had done just a survey, I would have gotten to the same conclusion as with the first focus group, which first was good, but it didn't bring me to my conclusion. And second, it would have been much more work. So this was a mistake. I was much too obsessed with statistics and surveys. And for a topic like this and a framework like this, I wouldn't do a survey because it would not have been reasonable in my view. Obviously, all your topics are super different, which is good, I think. So surveys might be a good idea for some, but for my topic, it was not the case. Some problems I had with my dissertation was, this was the first one, being obsessed with numbers. And, well, I think that everyone is going to stress about their dissertation, which I think is not, well, you shouldn't do it because you're all going to get a good dissertation with good marks. If you put enough effort into it, you will, if you start early, which is what I did, it would be good. For me, it was very good to start early. I had Marianne as my supervisor, and the supervision only goes up until July. And what was very helpful for me was I took May and June to really go into my dissertation and sit in the library and write it and blah, blah, blah. which meant that by the end of June, I was quite ready to kind of write it all down, and it was all good. And I used all of Marianne's lessons, her supervision sessions, in a way that I talked to her for an hour, and then I quickly wrote it all down, and then I kind of included it in my kind of dissertation. So I made the most of it, I hope. And by finishing a little early, I managed to basically have her input until the very end, which was very good. Yeah, and I would basically recommend that, even though I know it's hard to finish anything early in university contexts. But it meant that I had good supervision for all the parts in my dissertation, and I felt very confident in presenting the conclusion because Marianne had seen it. So that was good. I think also she liked the conclusion, so it helped me. Another problem was, I don't know if I can recommend this, but it might be kind of an unprofessional thing to say, but I didn't read every book I could find on the topic because it would have made me crazy, absolutely crazy, and it was just too much. I read the ones that I thought were really relevant, but I didn't read every single piece of literature on privacy that I could find, because you're going to get crazy, and don't have a bad conscience if you choose not to read a book. Look into it, but don't read it. It's too much. There's already so much to do. I don't know if this is a good advice for Marianne, but it would be my advice. And yeah, give me a second. I think that was about it. It's quite a long video given I'm not even here. I hope you really enjoyed the session, and actually, if you have any questions at all, I would love to help you, even though I don't know you, because I was always very eager to get help from alumni, because I think it helps a lot to talk to someone who's been through this. Marianne can give you my email address. I'm happy for anyone to write me an email, and I will write back within a day. So please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. I'm sure Marianne, Nini, and Sophie can help as well. But if you have any questions regarding my personal research topic or want to read my dissertation or whatever, then pop me an email. Have a good session and have a good day. Bye!